When I say tactical professional, what does everybody imagine?
I can tell you what you're imagining right now. You're imagining a guy with a beard, covered in tattoos, full kit, nods on, in a kneeling position, aiming down range, probably.
Probably accurate.
Yeah. And that's so far from the truth because that's probably the 1% of people that we're actually working with. When you think that and you have that image in your head, I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about a ponytail up. I'm thinking about being in a 10-foot Connex box. I'm thinking about a female drone pilot that's sitting for 8 to 10 hours a day in a high stress job, high stress situation. The tactical animal, the tactical profession in general is so much more than this image that we have just ingrained in our head.
And that's just a military example,
Yeah.
let alone we start to think about law enforcement,
Mm.
fire and rescue, all the professionals that work in that space. And all those folks are united by service, sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are also working in some way in a high risk profession. And even if the profession isn't high risk, there's a lot of risks that also bleed into their personal lives.
So I think the big thing we forget, and me and Nate talk about this all the time, is they're humans. We put in sports, we put a jersey on someone and we forget they're humans. In the tactical profession, we put a uniform on them and we forget what's underneath that uniform. No different than anyone else. They need to eat, sleep, and they need to connect.
That is it. That is a great point. And a lot of us skip to the sexy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We go right to, like, if we're thinking of a hierarchy of needs, we go right to self actualization and we forget about health and safety,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so when we think about the tactical profession, I think a good example that I often give is I worked at a certain special forces group, so Green Berets, and I would go visit coaches who worked at another special forces group, Green Berets. Should be a fairly homogenous group, you would think. They go through the same training pipeline to get there.
You would think.
They do the same job. They do it in different parts of the world.
Yep.
But that said, they were night and day different. Everything, even the physical makeup,
Yeah.
let alone the cultural context of it. So it's wild that you go from one group to another that seem to be the same and yet completely different.
You got to remember, we're still dealing with complex humans.